Hey, welcome to I Am Refocus Radio. Once again, we are here, and today we have a special honor talking to the one and only Kuba Gooding Jr. He is going to be in this powerful movie that you really need to plan to go see. It comes out in theaters August 2024. The name of the movie is The Firing Squad. Director Tim Chey. This is going to be powerful. I've had the honor to see some of the feedback already with videos. First and foremost, Kuba, thank you for your time. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed, brother. Thank you for having me. When did you say it came out? I've heard so many different dates.
I know it's August 2024, so I saw a couple dates too as well. I'm gonna play it safe.
It's August, but you never. I'm pretty sure it's August.
Yes, sir. I'll keep it safe and say August 2024, but they can go to the website, thefiringsquadmovie.com for more latest information. But let's dive into this powerful film. I mean, I feel like I watched the movie, I only watched the trailer. But
oh wow!
Just because I saw the interviews and the feedback, and I'm not gonna lie, it moved me because you can see people really talking about pain, really talk about the pain that's in this movie and redemption, and I think that's a powerful combination. What brought you to this project?
So Tim Chey and I worked together on a project in the early 2000s, a film about the slave trade called Freedom. And, at the end of that movie, he said he said that we should do this again. And I said, well, whenever you get a script that you think is powerful enough for us to share, and just give me a call. So last year he called me and he said, I have this story of these three Americans who find each other overseas in a prison camp, and are all three sentenced to die. And I'd like you to play one of these characters. So I said, send me the script. And when I read the script, it was one of those things, I've been saying to a lot of my colleagues that we as a society, not just America, but the world nation, needs to get back to God. And we just need a reaffirmation of our faith, and here I read this script of these guys who are they're about to give the ultimate sacrifice. And yet that's when they finally realize that he's been here for us this entire time. And now they have, there's a way to renew their faith and find redemption in the story. But the other thing that connected with me so powerful with this script and this story was when I did the slave tale earlier, the director at the time wanted my character to sing Amazing Grace. And I said, well, I'm not a singer. So I struggled through that day of filming like it was yesterday. I'll never forget it. And then you fast forward over a dozen years later, Tim sending me this story with the same requirement for my character. But now I've spent over a year on Broadway playing Billy Flynn in Chicago, the musical. I was in London doing it again. I said, Tim, I'm ready for you this time. And so it was one of those things where I knew that all the tools were there to tell the story, this redemption story, the way that it was supposed to be told. So.
The character that you play, kind of talk to the audience about that, because like I said, just hearing the testimony with some of the video footage I've been able to see to the website, thefiringsquadmovie.com, the testimony and stuff, some of the people already being able to see the screening. It's very powerful and touching.
Well, it's funny, my character Samuel, who I play in the movie, is already in the prison when the other two Americans come in. And he's a secular man and doesn't believe in much, doesn't believe in anything but the tangible around him. And one tragedy to his life, one missed appeal, like once again, brings him to the end of his rope, to his bottom depth. And it's funny because all of the characters that I've played in my career, from Trey and Boys in the Hood through, Master Chief Carl Bashir and Men of Honor, to even Jerry Maguire to some respect, and Ben Carson and Gifted Hands, I've always been in a place where those roles reflected on my life. And I had just lost my father in 2018, and then did the People versus O.J. Simpson. And so there was another dark blemish on my soul of a character that I would embody. And I've always used my faith to get me through these dark roles, because I said, God, you gave me this ability to tell the truth emotionally through these characters. So you want me to walk this path. I do it for you. But each one changes you a little bit. And then the firing squad came, and it was, again, a character that lost his father in jail. And he couldn't say goodbye to him. And now he was dealing with his own mortality. And he had to lean into his faith to find redemption and hope and inspiration and strength. And that's the character I play. And again, that's one of those situations where I'm dealing with these same issues in my personal life and in real life. And it's healing in a way. But I know that it's also timely, because these are the roles that I'm supposed to be playing at that particular time. Another one, James Radio Robert Kennedy, is another one in a film Radio. You play these real life people that are dealing with these things in their life. You have to take on that, because your body doesn't know if you're crying, if you're not really grieving. Your body really goes through the emotions of grief. And again, another timely tale.
We have a true honor talking to Kuba Gooding Jr. and talking about the film, The Firing Squad. You can go to the website, thefiringsquadmovie.com. It's coming out August 2024. Go to that website for more latest detail on that. Let's talk about the director, Tim Chey. He's a genius with his specialty and going for faith-driven narratives. What was your experience like being able to pick his brain and get inside your character that you mentioned earlier, Samuel Wilson?
Well, when you meet him, I'm sure he'll come on your show and talk about it, but he's a very passionate man. He's very moved by God. And I think he had been of the secular world most of his life. And when he found his redemption, he rededicated his life to sharing his journey with others and to let his artistry speak to the emotion that God has instilled in him and his soul. And, a lot of times when you're on a movie set, especially with a lot of the extras, you have an environment where the director has to dictate the energy of everything around you. And you, the actor, have to bring the energy of the character. And a lot of times you can conflict with the director, you can conflict with extras, you could conflict with the crew member. But Tim's energy is all encompassing. And I'll never forget when we shot, and again, I don't want to give too much of the movie away for you, but when we shot those prison scenes and we had all of those prisoners walking and in character and saying their lines and stuff, when Tim would talk and he'd finish the scene, and before we'd move on, he'd say a prayer, you could see these men emotionally changing and their behavior changing based on the energy that he was pulling off. And I think it's very evident in the film. I think when you watch the movie, you'll see the scenes where his energy literally infiltrates every character, every aspect of each scene. And even the crew members, the lighting, the sound, the score, everything kind of has a synergy to it that enables us actors to be easier to find the truth in the moment, because that's what the camera does. It records, but more importantly, it's a magnifying glass to the truth. And this movie, you can't sidestep it. You either have faith or you don't, and it's evident when you see the scenes in it.
I like that point on truth in the moment, because that leads me to the next question, because there are other two amazing actors on this project, Kevin and James. What was it like to work with Kevin and also the rising star James?
It's funny. Most of my scenes were with James, and the scenes where Kevin and I might have interacted, he did on a different day. So I didn't actually get to work with Sorbo or even meet him until the first screening. And that's when we hugged, and I knew, just based on his performances, his energy, his God energy is strong, and it's that vessel, especially with the young actor. He's open to experiencing an emotion, and you can feel his energy coming through his performances, and it makes it easier. It's easier for you. It's like they say when you play with professional athletes, any sport, your game arises. And I think that's true in acting as well, is when you have someone who has that energy, it uplifts your energy, and then you create a synergy. People in Hollywood like to call it a chemistry, but I think it's an energy more than a chemistry, because that energy combines and forms this other being. And that's what we experience when we see these people going through these motions and these situations.
Earlier, you touched on the preparation that you had to do for this film. How did that whole journey process of being in character and understanding the goal of the director, how did you take that journey personally? And also, you mentioned faith as well. How did that play a role?
Yeah, it's every role you do leaves a mark, leaves a scar in your soul. Again, your body doesn't know that you're dealing with grief and it's just fake. Your body thinks that you're really actually experiencing that. So I've been blessed to play great men, Master Chief Carl Bashir, Ben Carson, Dory Miller, and all the Tuskegee Airmen movies that I've done. But I've also had dark roles that I played, from O.J. Simpson, even American Gangster, Nicky Barnes. These are guys that have chosen the dark path in life. And when you walk in these people's shoes, it leaves an imprint on your psyche. And the one thing about this movie has been nice is that I've been able to, even in my personal life, apply the faith that is required to get to that level of truth in the scenes that you see in the movie. And it's something, I've been a Christian since I was young, rededicating my life when I was 10, 11 years old. Miss McCraven was this woman who lived in this house on the end of the street, and she would give out candy and let you play all the games. She had all the games, but you had to read one Bible verse to come in. And it's that journey that I've been on since meeting her that has kind of informed the path of my career that brought me here to even this role today. And it's one that changes you. It's one that changes you. And a lot of times you'll hear actors. I remember Jack Nicholson gave an interview, said that every actor that has to play the Joker is never the same afterwards. And I believe that, and I believe every role you do, and like I say, imprints itself on you, and it changes you. And, I'm just grateful that I was given the opportunity to be in a faith-based film that the change now is of such a positive light that it helps me to, endure the negativity that you get exposed to.
Films like The Firing Squad are timeless. And watching some of the just interviews and reaction from, like I said, we go to the website, thefiringsquadmovie.com. You can watch some of the videos of people who share their own testimony of, man, I found my place in that character. When it comes to the message and how it can be timeless, I mean, I heard comparisons with the emotional gripping, like The Passion of Christ. How does this movie, do you feel, display that powerful message that it meets people where they at?
I always tell people, they say, if you had to compare the movies, I say Passion of Christ, and I say Dead Man Walking. I said, here you have people of a secular nature who are at the darkest moments in their life, and they think there's no hope, no faith, and yet they find strength in God. And I think that this movie is one of those timeless pieces, those timeless tales that does that. I have the proof of it because we've had over 24 screenings, and the few that I've been and have attended, you can see the people literally, you watch them line up and go in the theater, and then you watch them raise their hands and praise during the end credits, and you see them walk out and you see that their soul has been changed. And I think it's that aspect of this film, that end moment of this film is healing in that way and reaffirming of faith. And that's why so many people have found their faith after watching the movie. And I know on the website, as you mentioned, they also have, because we've been doing a lot of these grassroots screenings in churches and whatnot, you can call and we can send you a copy so that you can have in your own faith-based community, your own screening. And it's been healing for a lot of people. So I'm already proud of it. It hasn't even opened yet.
I mean, I wish August was next month because that's how excited I am to see myself, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I truly, when I was watching the testimonials of people, talking after the screening on the website, you can feel the emotion. There's one guy I remember, he mentioned that he himself served time. And he said he found himself in that film. And it brought him to get teary-eyed, misty-eyed. And I just feel like that is powerful when movies are able to be so relatable that people are just moved with personal life, real experiences. And it's like, boom, I felt that moment.
My grandfather always says, everybody has a page. You might be driving and somebody honks at you, or somebody yells at you, or somebody reacts to you, but they're dealing with their own page. You never know what people are dealing with in life. And it's the reason why we go to movies, right? We go in there and we sit for 2 hours and we hopefully see something from somebody that looks like us or reacts to a situation that we're dealing with right now. And yet theirs is so much darker on that screen than what they're actually dealing with in life. Like these three men in the firing squad. They're giving the ultimate sacrifice for their belief. And yet they still can find peace and faith, find their resurrection of their faith. So if they can do that, you can deal with your page in your life. I think that's the strongest message that I hope that people take away from this movie.
What I love about this whole project is the fact that, like we said earlier in the interview, that it is based on an incredible true story.
Stories, yes, sir.
When you learn more about the three guys and their real life, how much did that impact how you performed on the screen?
You get lucky when you can have a character that has an example of what they're walking through. So whenever you're trying to find the truth of the moment, you go and reflect on some materials that they send you, and you connect on one thing. Maybe it's a look, maybe it's something that they say, maybe it's a written word. You know that you're doing the right thing. You know that you're bringing truth to the character. You look at the news today, and now this example is all over the press. There's Americans right now in Turks and Caicos who left their ammunition in their suitcases, and now they're facing 12 to 15 years in prison for a mistake because they didn't understand that culture. And I think right now, after the internet, the invention of the internet, we used to look at society within a 10-mile radius, how far our car will drive us to and from work. But now we go home, we go online, and we're in Singapore, we're in Russia, we're in places, and we're seeing and meeting and interacting with people who look like us, who don't act like us, who don't have traditions like we do, who don't eat the way we do, but they have the same fears and anxieties and lack of faith. And they need to know that we are all connected, all of us as the human race. And when you hear a story of somebody dealing with something that you're dealing with overseas, it brings you closer to that.
Once again, listen, our Refocus Radio, talking to our amazing guest, Kuba Gooding Jr., talking about the amazing film that you need to really, I want to take a pause and say, really need to go see this film, The Firing Squad, and I think you really need to share this with a friend, especially someone who might be going through something. I think this film, I haven't even seen it yet, and I just feel like just watching the previews, watching the trailer, is not just gripping, but you just feel a sense of hope. And I can't explain it, but I'm sure I can probably explain it more once I see the whole movie. But I just feel, you mentioned energy, and I just feel like I really can feel that. I can feel it from I keep plugging the interviews from the screenings, but I'm telling you, if you watch it yourself, I'm going to plug it, go to the FiringSquadMovie.com. You really feel a sincere energy from the people.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for people to experience it and all of the performances, and hopefully take away something that helps them to reaffirm their faith. And even if it's just a small way, that they can leave the theater and feel like they've reconnected with their faith, with God, with their maybe it's a loved one they haven't talked to in a long time. Maybe it's someone who's passed, but they still feel their presence with them. I think you feel all of that energy from this movie.
There's one thing that I was thinking about. I don't believe in giving curveballs, but I feel like in the last 4 minutes with you, I want to take this opportunity to talk about the fact that not only are you a great actor, but your son is also into acting. And if you don't mind, talk a little bit about Mason and what kind of makes you happy to see what he's doing in his turn in being an actor.
Yeah, Mason came to me and he said, "Dad, I think I want to act." I said, "Well, if you want to act, come to the movies." He said, "Yeah, but I really want to go to college." I said, "Well, I'm not paying for college unless you do something other than acting." So he got into NYU with his dramatic writing. And then in his third year in NYU, he found his acting bug, and then he became an actor. So I felt that he went on his own path, and he's impressed me so much. In the Booksmart movie and the Scream movies and all the movies, they're really starting to find him. I say all the time, he's my new and improved model. He's taller than me. He's got more muscles. He's gorgeous, But I think he's got it. I know he's got it somewhere in his soul. But he makes me proud every time I see him and do something else. And he's got these army of people that follow his performances now. So I think there's something there.
My last question for you, Mr. Gooding, is, like I mentioned before, you as a successful actor, you've been able to live a dream. And my last question for you, the show's on Refocus, where you have an opportunity to refocus on your goals, refocus on your purpose, refocus on what drives you. You, Mr. Gooding, what has driven you to keep going as you check the mile markers? What has kept driving you forward?
Well, you alluded to it when you said Mason Gooding, but Mason Gooding, Piper Gooding, my 18-year-old daughter, Spencer James Gooding, my oldest son, to watch them blossom into the men and women that they're becoming right now and know that I'm the example for them. You hear the terms Black excellence, but there's parental excellence, and there's a walk in your faith and your courage, especially in the darkest times. When it gets hard, that's when I know that they're watching. And that's what keeps me focused on trying to do the best I can in those moments.
Once again, the Firing Squad. You need to really go to onrefocusradio.com because it's on the homepage. The trailer, you can watch it on the homepage, so you have zero excuses. I need you to tell a friend, to tell an uncle, to tell an aunt, to tell your grandma, your grandpa, your cousins, your sister, all of them. And I think you really need to watch this movie because it's going to be, I feel it's going to be a tearjerker, and it's really going to show people the power of grace. And with that, I'll give you the last words, Mr. Gooding. What would you like to tell the listening audience?
Well, just like my man said, don't miss out on this opportunity to renew your faith. Don't miss out on this opportunity to reconnect with your strength, and know that we're not alone. We have an energy that's out there that's helping us, and then spread the word.
Man, Kuba Gooding Jr. here, talking about the amazing film, The Firing Squad. Go to the website, thefiringsquadmovie.com. It's in theaters August 2024. You want to go to that website to get all the fine details, find out how you can get the tickets, all that great stuff. Sir, once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Good to see you. Nice to talk to you.